Hi, this is Taryn Evans. I'm doing the practice interview. I do not have anyone to interview. I work in retail already, and I interview people almost every week. So I will be asking the questions and interviewing. I guess myself. If excuse the background, I'm actually at work, so those are just mannequins, not real naked people. So just a little bit of background. If I were to be applying for a company, based on my summary, this I will be interviewing for Brand Inc. Brand Inc. is located in the River Oaks district in Houston, Tennessee. It's a leader in women's fashion and have led their women's fashion consecutively for the last 20 years. They are a high-end women's clothing retail who's uniquely specialize in both plus and oversized clothing. They currently rank number 5 in the nation in sales. Their ability to relate to customers of all sizes and set them apart in an industry where plus and average markets do not intermingle. Their unique approach to sizing, ads, and style of clothing has not only modernized but revolutionized the industry. Most of their clients commend the company for making something for everyone. Their employees have voted Brand Inc. one of the top places to work in the United States for the past 12 years. They are currently in need of a senior brand manager who understands how to bridge the gap between the corporate vision and the field action. This person will be responsible for not only communicating the brand vision and the standards, but should also customize the customize the approach in certain markets, i.e., if a market is located in Tulsa, it will not have the same approach as someone in New York. Both um, uh, both locations would have the same vision statement and be a part of Brand Inc. So these are the interview, and I'm actually going to do questions that I interview people and answer them as if I am interviewing for this position. And so here it goes. I reviewed your application. Walk me through your employment history. Provide me with specifics that make up your employment history, like the name of your company, the position, and specific reason for leaving, and your primary focus or accomplishment in that role. So I'm going to now speak for myself. My name is Taryn. Uh, I was raised in Atlanta for the majority of my life, and I have worked under some of the top retailers as Gap Inc., Hobby Lobby, the Ascena brand, which owns Catherine's, Lane Bryant, and Taylor Loft. And in those positions, I held management positions. I've worked in the retail industry for the past 20 years, and I've held every position imaginable, from logistics to part-time sales lead to a part-time shift leader, meaning like a third key or a manager, to assistant manager to store manager. My ultimate goal is to be in corporate retail, and being a part of Brand Inc. will help me uh, accomplish that goal. I am passionate about people. I'm passionate about change and how I can help a company store. In my last position was a store manager at a store called Catherine's, which is a plus size women's store. My store was ranked number 10 out of 343 stores. And I have about 2 years of proven results for being in what we call the President's Club, which is the top 20 of the top 20 stores within the company. My reason for leaving is because I want more. I want to accomplish my goals, and I want to impact the masses. And how I'll do that will be with your company, Brand Inc., and your senior position that you have available. I admire your company because we all come in shapes, different shapes, sizes, and colors, and diversity is important. And your brand represents that diversity as it can relate to me and my friends and just the world. The next question I'm going to ask is, um, what have you done for your professional development in the last 3 years? Well, firstly, I would say that I went back to school to complete my degree. I have a degree in interdisciplinary studies with a major in interior design, a concentration in fashion merchandising, and a minor in psychology. And the reason why this is a major college accomplishment is because not only are you graduating from college, but after being out for some time, I went back to finish. And sometimes it was hard, balancing work and home life balance, and now school. Because back then, when I was a student, I didn't have to worry about work, school, home life. It was just school and then home life, and it's a big deal when you are a store manager and you have to worry about 6 to 8 people plus the people underneath your house in your home, and then you have to really try to do uh, what's best, just to balance it all. And I would say that's a major accomplishment because I didn't want to say I didn't think I can do it, but I had just been out for so long that it was unusual to get back in the groove um, of school. And another accomplishment, I went from a assistant store manager to a store manager, and now my store is one of the, like I said, the top 10 in the company. And I have the ability to inspire others and drive results and to make great things happen. Another question, next question. Next question I am going to ask is, tell me about a time when you had to provide negative feedback to someone on their performance. What kind of feedback did you provide? How do you think the feedback was received by them, and what was the end result? Well, I actually had to provide negative feedback to one of my old store managers. She was above me. I was the assistant manager, and the problem was with a customer had a problem with her customer service and how she felt treated, how she felt targeted, and like she wasn't good enough to shop in the store that she was in. And so what I had to tell her is, what I asked her, I said, what do you think your perception to the customers are? And then I told her what the feedback from customers, because it was actually more than one customer. And I did tell her what the feedback was from the customers. And I presented it in a way that wasn't, you did this, you did that, because she is my superior. You have to always remain respectful. But I had to be honest and let her know. I think a lot of people fail because no one has sat down and said, these are the things that you're good at, but these are the things that you have opportunities in. And with these opportunities, you can grow and be better and let future outcomes be better. She received it negatively. I do not believe in the way that it's presented, but I think she was in denial of her overall perception of herself. I believe that she was more set in her ways. But that was the initial reaction. After some time, like the next day, she came to me and said that she thought more about it and apologize, for anybody ever feeling the way that they did. And it was a better treatment to the customers and a better working environment for others. Um, and we worked as a team, and that's the only way that we can win is if we work as a team. Another question, next question. Another question is, recall a time when your manager or supervisor was unable and a problem arose. What was the problem? How did you handle it? And what was the outcome? Surprisingly, when I was at Gap, the power went out 3 different times. The first time I was like, oh no, what do I do? I have a store full of customers. We do have critical like protocols of what to do when you have storm, lights, and all this, but it's a little bit different when it's in action. Yes, I knew where we had this box called the downtime box, and yes, I knew where that was, but how do I manage the crowd? How do I manage the people that are there? One thing is to not panic. Second thing is to communicate with your team and let them know what the game plan is, what we're going to do, and how do we maintain customer confidence that don't freak out because a transformer blew and took out our power. How do we keep everyone happy, and how do we also protect our product and not have theft? And so I had to make quick decisions to make sure that we were safe as a store, safe as a customer, for the customers, because the policy was to just lock the doors to let them remain in the building. And so it wasn't. So I did not have a bad outcome inside. I was shaking like, oh no, what do I do? But I was able to take care of the customers, and the lights eventually came back on. I had to call my district manager, call my store manager, called the important people that needed to know, called the service desk. There's protocols, and I feel that if you have a problem, that you need to prioritize what is most important, how can I be effective, and how can I learn from this experience, even if you're successful. Uh, to make to fast forward, the power went out 2 other times in different months, for it being a storm or something like that. So because I was prepared and I did well in the first with the first uh, batch of the storm and everything going through, not the storm, but the power going off, I was able to use it in my other power outages. And the same thing goes with, and that's the simplest version, but the same thing goes when you have a vision for a company, you have a mission statement, you have something to stand for. When you are faced with opposition, you're faced with things that you cannot control, like an unhappy customer or a bad review. You have to remember why you're here, what you stand for, how can we resolve this, and what we can do to make it better for the better experience. Next question, last question. Tell me about a time when you were at work. Tell me about a time at work when things were challenging. How did you motivate the staff and build morale? Well, when I moved to Tennessee and I took over this Catherine store, I took over a store that had very poor morale. People were not taught to be great. You may not be great at everything, but if you give them a spirit of being great and motivating them to do more, to be more, you have better outcomes. I took over a store that had a very hostile working environment, and I had to turn that around while still expecting them to follow company rules. And it was hard because a lot of them were not taught this is the way that we do things. This is not do things as in me, but do things as in the store, the brand, the company that owns us. And it wasn't hard. Consistency is the best quality that one can have. And it was challenging because these were seasoned people who worked here, and I had to teach them what the policy was. I had to maintain that policy, all the while converting the people who had a fixed mindset into a growth mindset, or at least when they're here to show others that they have a growth mindset and that they're positive. And it's just a balance of getting everyone on the same page because everyone has different levels. There are people who got it, there's people who didn't get it, and there's people who didn't want to get it. And I think that's the most challenging. I've now, and I was there 10 months, and the results have been better. People who want to be here and want to work are here. I haven't lost anybody in the process, which is great. And I motivated the staff by showing them and teaching them. I think people get discouraged when they don't have tools that they can use to, I use the word be great, but that really is what I mean, to be great. Like if you don't show or you don't teach, you just assume that someone's going to know, or you keep the information for yourself. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting them. You're not hurting yourself. And I see a boost in confidence in them when they approach customers. Their results are better. We sell credit cards and then loyalty programs to keep the customer coming back, and that is increased. And it's not a struggle. It still is a matter of consistency to make sure that we are doing what we have to do every day. I ask if every day they give me 100%, even if they don't feel like being here. There's times I would love to be in bed too, but we're here for the hours that we were selected to be here, and uh, we need to just make sure that we are consistent. I would, and then that would be the end of the interview. It would normally be 6 to 10 questions, about 30 minutes. So to do this video in 10 to 15 minutes is cutting everything short. And when we ask questions, what we're asking to see is, how are you at working with others, problem solving, and thinking on your feet? You've already been selected, and it's not about the job that I'm going to ask you about. It's going to be about you as a person, what I'm going to ask you about, and I'll explain more of this in my paper. Um, but we are just trying to see who you are as an individual. How can your talent that we've already seen through your resume, how can your talent and your personality interact with our staff? So there's usually about 10 questions or so that I ask, and we actually have questions that we just go over. I then ask them what do they think their day-to-day activity would be here, and then I tell them what the expectations are and what I do. I let them talk. You have to make sure you don't overtalk, that you let them do the talking. You're asking the questions and you're taking notes as you go. And then we go from there. So the next answers will be on my paper. Thank you.